Nicer.
Good to go. Thank you, Bill. All right. We will call this last regularly scheduled meeting of the Orange County Board of Commissioners on December 28th, 2021 to order. I will note there will be a special meeting we're working on for Thursday, December 30th at 9 a.m. We'll pull together some documents for that, just do some more end of the year wrap up. But this is our last regularly scheduled meeting for 2021, which means we're halfway through. We're halfway through the term. But call it to order. All rise, please, for the pledge of allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Becky, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
here.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. Row officer reports and comments. Looking out of the audience today, we really don't have any representatives of row officers with us. Public comments. Any member of the public wishing to make comment? Hearing none. Fiscal and contractual, we have no repository properties up today. We have no advertising bids proposals, no receipt of bids proposals. We do have a warrant registered dated December 22nd, 2021. I'll give my colleagues a minute to look that over. I'll take a motion to accept and file the warrant register.
The year ends, but the spending doesn't.
Never. There's a joke amongst economists. GDP, gross domestic product, combination of consumption plus investment buildings, plus government spending and net imports and exports. And the running joke is that whenever GDP decreases, it's never a result of government spending. Government spending only ever goes up.
I will make a motion to approve the warrant register.
We have motion. Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from our Tuesday, December 21st, 2021 meeting. Again, I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to approve or make any necessary and expedient changes.
I do have a minor change to the minutes. On the third page, and I realize it's front and back, but the third page where we reappointed Judith Kindle to the public library, Federated Library System Board, we need to correct the fact she's a resident of Wayne Township, not of Elwood City Borough.
Gotcha.
And thank you for that, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. So we'll etch that out and put in Wayne Township,
Okay.
Elwood City Borough.
Thank you.
We'll be in good shape there, unless there's anything else. There isn't. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. A couple written communications today. First and foremost, a notification for planned land development for Chapter 102 permits from the Elwood City Area School District. The program itself is Helling Stadium improvements to include new synthetic turf to replace natural grass field, the resurfacing of existing track, new track and field event areas, and new pavers near the visitors' bleachers. Underground stormwater infiltration facility around the perimeter will be installed for stormwater control. So it sounds like the Elwood City School District's making some improvements to their stadium. That's number one. And number two, from Zambelli Fireworks, looks like they are getting a renewal or applying for a renewal from the Pennsylvania Solid Waste Management Act. Statement of basis is also included in the letter along with draft permit. And that's what they're doing. And that's for their facility in Mahoning Township. Any questions or comments on written correspondence? As I always note, whenever developers or other entities are undergoing certain actions that require state permitting under a number of scenarios, they're required to notify the Board of Commissioners whenever such activities take place. That's where our authority ends. We have no authority to approve or deny permits. They're just notifying us of activities ongoing in the county. But I'll take a motion to accept and file written correspondence.
So moved.
Second, a motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Staff reports. Is there any member of staff with us today that's anything to report from beyond what's already on the agenda? Seeing none, Commissioner reports and comments. We're ready. You're on deck. Floor is yours.
I think we're going for that 15-minute
We're
meeting
trying our
here,
best.
so, okay, I'm good. I'm just going to say, now, since it is our last meeting, well, although we'll have one, I will say to all of our viewers, our staff, families and friends, hopes for a healthy, happy, prosperous 2022. That's it.
Thank you. Dan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go along with that as well. Hope everybody had a nice Christmas, and we wish everybody a very safe and healthy 2022. But as Chairman Boyd noted, we are going to be having one more meeting. I will be available that morning by phone, so I appreciate if you call me, and I'll be able to participate by telephone. One real quick item, and it's kind of moved fairly quickly. You might recall last week we discussed communicating with PennDOT about
Yes.
the design of the proposed East Washington Street bridge replacement. So this morning, on behalf of the two of you, I sent an email to Cheryl Moon Sirianni. Well, as Cheryl usually does, she got back to us right away, and you've probably seen the back and forth. As I noted in my second email to her, I'm not an engineer, and my email certainly reflected that fact because she had some technical questions. In a nutshell, she basically wanted to know, were we referring to the bottom of the bridge or the top of the bridge? That's non-engineer talk. And obviously, I think we were referring to the top of the bridge, the part you can see. And now that that's been clarified, fortunately, we've included Bill Humphrey, and Bill has now begun communicating with her as to opportunities for that bridge. So we'll see where that goes. But I thank you both for your willingness to present that to her. And obviously, the final decision rests with PennDOT, but we've made the suggestion. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Just briefly, I'll echo the comments. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Wish everybody, a Happy New Year. Only other thing I want to add is it was recently announced that Shirley Nocera, who's been a long time public servant in various capacities in South Newcastle Borough, is announcing her retirement, I believe, in February of next year. Just want to thank her for her countless years of service. We've got a lot of great community leaders here in Lawrence County, and Shirley certainly holds herself amongst those and is in those ranks. And I know my colleagues would say the same. And so far as we wish her all the best in retirement and thank her for her many years of service to South Newcastle Borough and Lawrence County.
It's very nice.
Absolutely, yes.
Moving on to our resolutions. First on deck today, we have resolution 2021-372.
372.
Amending the proposed 2022 Lawrence County budget. The amendments, the sheet's sort of tucked away in the packet, but I'll read the amendments. First up, out of assessment, there was a juxtaposition error in my preparation of the budget, so we fixed that juxtaposition. Yeah, every once in a while, a couple slip in there. We're also increasing advertising expense and assessment by $300, decreasing contingency by $300 in that same department to accommodate the recent changes made to the Sunshine Act. Emergency management, all we're doing here is we're shifting in the proposed budget, our canine search team, the monies were coming out of the general fund. What we're doing here is basically just shifting those monies to where they're coming out of the EMA grants fund as opposed to the general fund. So it's technical, but it's the same end goal being accomplished. It's just where it needs to be. Central court, again, just a juxtaposition error. There I put 30,250 instead of 30,205. So we're just fixing that. APO administrative fund, after conversations with Judge Motto, the contribution from APO to the general fund is going to be $60,000. And in addition, you can see that a staff position was added back in as a result of those new funds being available. We were able to fund a position that we previously had to cut. Controller, the controller is rearranging some of the personnel in his office. It results from a salary of staff line item. There's a decrease. But because of the changes that are being made, that was actually resulted in a net increase to the budget because we have to assume family insurance for whoever is the individual that the controller decides to hire. So that's what is being accomplished in that amendment. Elections, this is adding back in the 4th position to the elections office. You can see salary of inside registrars going up, so wages of outside registrars going down, employee insurance going up, again, assuming family, and FICA and unemployment going up to accommodate the extra employee. The 911 fund, we are, in order to balance the budget, cutting uniform allowances for the telecommunicators out of the budget, mostly because they mainly operate from behind the scenes. There's really no reason for them to have formal uniform allowance. Nobody else does outside of our uniformed sheriff's office, JPO, APO, and I believe domestics also, their detective state uniforms. That's about, and our court security. Central services, this is more or less an adjusting entry to balance the budget, just decreasing miscellaneous administrative expenditures by $41,452. That balances the budget. Miscellaneous, we had a reduction in election state reimbursement revenue. In other words, that revenue actually came in this year as opposed to next year. As a result, what that amendment does is it right sizes the budget. It says, okay, we're not going to be getting the revenue, which means we're not going to be paying out those one-time expenditures. The nice thing about the way the budget was structured this year was that we basically used one-time funding streams to structure one-time expenditures. So it wasn't hard to be able to go and say, okay, we're gonna if the funding stream decreases, the one-time expenditure decreases. CDBG, this is done at the request of Amy. These are expenditures which were made in 2021. As a result, we don't need to include them in the 2022 budget. They were just paid out in December. And then liquid fuels, you can see the attached Munis spreadsheet. Just like they did with 911 last year, they changed the liquid fuels chart of accounts at the state level for this year. And so while there is no material change in the budget, we just had to move some numbers around to accommodate the new chart of accounts, if that makes sense. Total budget amendments resulted in little over $100,000 in reductions to the total budget. None of those reductions, again, are material changes, and most of the results for expenditures which have either been paid out or revenues which have been received in 2021 as opposed to 2022. Any questions or comments on those? No, sir. Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-372.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes, and then I'll have a quick question.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Dan?
Obviously, when we take our next action, which is to formally adopt the budget, obviously the documents will still be available for people to look at, both in person and online, if I'm not mistaken. Do you intend to have this document attached? I realize the changes will all be reflected, but this will be available, I assume.
We can make it available. I will say I've already, my draft budget, which isn't published right now.
Yeah.
The original one was, but those changes has not been.
Right.
Those changes I've already incorporated into that draft budget. And so once this meeting's over, what we'll do is, number one, I'll send the budget at that point to a print shop. We'll get a couple copies printed out. One will be up for display.
Yep.
And then the second thing we'll do is we'll add it to the website.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Up next, resolution 2021-373, which is the adoption of the 2022 Lawrence County budget. We've pretty much already sufficiently, I think, gone over everything that's included in that budget. Again, those changes are more ministerial, less functional, and so I don't feel the need to regurgitate what we already went over 3 weeks ago. I will note that the budget has been on display for 3 weeks. The public has had ample opportunity to review it. We have received no public comments relating to the budget, but we have done everything in terms of passing the budget in accordance with the laws set forth by the Commonwealth. But on that note, unless there's any questions or comments on the adoption of the budget, I'll take a motion to approve 2021-373.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have a budget. 2021-374. This is again a ministerial motion or resolution which sets the employee healthcare contribution rate for 2022 for all non-union management and county compensated elected. We're gonna make it elected officials because Josh pays the same rate. He's the only unless anybody has any objection to that. As we know that the judges and the magistrates are state employees. So the resolution will read, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that healthcare contribution costs shall increase from 4% to 5% effective January 1, 2022 for non-union management and elected officials. I'll note this includes the 911 operators, the planning office, all of our department head positions, all but one employee at the assessment office, numerous judicial staff, confidential judicial staff. It includes all elected officials, including the Board of Commissioners, the Commissioner's office. Basically everybody that's not AFSCME or Teamsters /964, wherever we are
Right.
with those guys. I'll note that union employee contributions to health insurance are set by each union's respective collective bargaining agreement with Lawrence County. Questions or comments on this?
Just a comment to add, since you, with the CBAs, several of the different departments that are covered are currently paying the 5% that we're just being raised to now. And that's, you know.
With the jail is.
The jail is, and I noted that, you know, in the resolution that it's to get it, you know, to meet the public standards, when we realize what we have. And it was a learning curve for me as well, sitting there, you know, the amounts that the coverage does cost, that the insurance is that good, that it's the contribution increases only towards that percentage that they pay, the member pays for their insurance currently. And I don't want to put you on the spot with specifics.
I'll give you
but
specifics.
go ahead. I know you've run them through. I think we need to note that it's
Yeah.
not, you know, it's not $100 extra dollars of pay
No,
that
it's,
this is turning into. So please,
Well,
if you wouldn't mind.
yeah, sure. So I'm actually, just for the record, I'm actually gonna vote no on this resolution, just because I actually think it should be higher, based on market rate, and what most people in the United States contribute to their employee insurance. But the average employee in the United States, at least last time I checked, contributed 18% of health insurance costs to covering the insurance. I was talking to a Greene County commissioner a couple weeks ago, and I just brought up, so everybody's going through the budget process at the same time. You know, what do Greene County employees contribute to their insurance? And she indicated that they were working with their unions right now to get their contribution up to 17%. I will note that forever, our employees at the county paid absolutely nothing towards their health insurance contributions. So I am glad that we are starting to move towards you know, a more private sector standard for it. I want to say in increasing from 4 to 5%, I'll give you a rough estimate right now what that does for an individual with family insurance. We're paying roughly $26,000 total for an individual who has family insurance. 4% of that would be $1,040, and 5% of that would be $1,300. So it's really only increasing again for that individual by $260, which is spread out. You know,
26 pays.
So it's $10
There
a
you
pack.
go. Yeah.
It's $10 a pack.
That math worked easily. Yes.
Yeah, that's surprisingly easy.
Right.
I'm glad I picked family, not single.
Yeah.
But so that's what we're doing here today. And again, it's largely a ministerial action. We've been increasing it gradually year over year. I'll also note that we received figures back from our insurance advisors, our insurance consultants. And I'll note that of comparable counties, and they don't provide the names of the counties, they provide County A, County B, County C, County D. We are the lowest in terms of what our employees contribute to their insurance costs. But that's basically my spiel on that. I'll also note that this does not include vision and dental insurance, which is 100% funded through the County of Lawrence. Any more questions, comments? All right, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021 -374.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. And again, I'll note that I'm going to vote no to this, just because I believe that we should be more in line with what the private sector and the institutional sector has their employees contributing for insurance. That's my reason why I'm voting no. We have motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, we have Scott Baldwin, Director of Mhds, for a couple of ministerial resolutions related to certain contractual services performed with our mental health department. Scott, how you doing today? Have a good Christmas?
Mr. Chairman, doing well, thank you.
What do we have before us today?
Short and sweet here. These are two contracts to present. The first one is for Alliance of Nonprofit Resources. This is a contract that will run from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. A&R is located in Butler, and they are going to be doing investigations for us on incidents that are reported for our intellectually disabled individuals. The contract amount will not exceed $50,000 and is paid by a Human Services Block Grant funding.
Gotcha. This is Sandy Curry's organization.
Sandy Curry, I'm not sure.
I don't know if she's the chief or, but I think she works for him. It's not of material importance. It was just an observation.
Yeah, investigation of increasing. We just need some extra support to do them and to give us good bargain on it. So.
Hey, we love good bargains.
Yes.
Questions or comments for Director Baldwin? All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve 2021-375.
So moved.
Second. Good motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And Dawn Services.
This is a contract between Lawrence County Mhds and Baldwin Services. Contract will run from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Contract amount will not exceed $25,000 paid out of Human Services Block Grant funding. This is actually for a specific individual who wasn't eligible for the state reimbursement program. It was deemed that he received this community and home-based services and was approved, and the amount is for, again, a specific individual. So that happens now and then.
Yeah,
Right.
So
absolutely.
that is it.
Any questions, comments on that? I'll take a motion to approve 2021-376.
So moved.
Second. Good motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yes.
Up next, we have Becky from Planning for an HMGP Hazard Mitigation Planning Grant. Becky, how are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing good. What do we have going on?
Well, I know very little. This is the,
Of this particular
We do
thing.
this- we do this every
particular
year.
thing.
we do
Yes.
this update of the hazard mitigation plan. And, so I'm here to see if that will, give the approval for that.
And I'll note, we do this every single year. It runs through planning. I believe Alan does a lot of legwork on it through, especially at GIS. And what this, among other things, it basically prepares us for certain disaster relief scenarios and other items as required by 44 CFR 201.6. Hazard mitigation plans is a component of the county's emergency operations plan that is required to be periodically updated under code federal regulations. Federally approved hazard mitigation plan provides eligibility for certain disaster assistance. Finding County does currently have a hazard mitigation plan which expires in 2026. So this is grant funding. It's basically grant funding that we receive for certain services rendered in accordance with our preparation of our update of the hazard mitigation plan. Any questions or comments on this one?
I do have a quick one, and you may not know, and if you can find out.
Sure.
One of the bullet points here is that the HMP project will be managed by the Emergency Management or Planning Department with full participation by the County Conservation District. to your knowledge, is that happening? Has
I
that
believe
been
so.
happening?
Yes, I
Okay.
think it's a coexisting, working relationship with the three.
So if we approached Jeff Parrish or Joanne McCready, they would more than likely be familiar with this. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Any other
And I-
addition-
I could be corrected on that, but
This is a ministry, yeah, we do this
Yes.
every year.
Sure.
Yeah, all I know is it's a revenue item. We get money for it.
thank you.
It's not an expenditure. But I'll take a motion to approve 2021-377.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion to second. Any further discussions? Hearing none. I'll take that. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Hang on, thanks, Becky.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Keep
You
going,
as
I'll
well.
be right back. Please keep going. Excuse me a minute.
Morgan, the next one, that was, are you looking at the?
Yeah.
When you handed me that this morning, I
Yeah,
thought that packet went with a budget
gotcha.
amendment, not with actually amending the budget
Okay.
from earlier. So-
Okay, we'll just
Just
disregard.
disregard.
Yeah, we'll disregard. Yes, we did that. Yeah, I was there and I was like,
Yeah,
did
I
I
can
get?
see that hesitation, like,
That was just,
what is it? What
that was
what's
a
happening?
mistake on my part.
It's-
So we're going away with the current 370.
Well, we're not even gonna name that one. It's just, we're just
Okay,
gonna
so-
aside.
Just on the agenda, number 7, you can just scratch.
Yeah, we'll just
Right, we
disregard.
don't need the
That's
resolution for
We
that,
don't
it's
have-
just budget amendments.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because I'm known to do a lot of budget amendments. It's just one of the things that I do. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally. So I know when Vanessa's preparing there's always a line item in there for budget amendments, just because again, I do them pretty frequently. Up next, though, we have 2021-3, will be 378 for a budget amendment.
There we go.
Transferring for maintenance, we're moving some money out of commissioner's contingency, or actually out of commissioner's contingency to pay down a couple of overdrawn maintenance and repairs accounts for each of these departments. Again, this is just an end of the year sweep up. So unless there's any questions or comments, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-378.
So moved.
I'll second that. We have a motion seconding, further discussion, hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And I'll note as I did last time, this budget, I'm sure Dan would approve of that.
Yes.
But parliamentary procedure, it'll have to be indicated as 2-0. 379. We're transferring $2,350 from corner hospitalization to solicitor special counsel. This is to pay for some P Corp, active P Corp cases that we're getting some invoices for through P Corp. I know there's ample amount of money in that fund to cover. Dan, we're making a transfer from corner hospitalization to solicitor special counsel, $2,350 to cover costs associated with some of the active cases we have that are being handled through P Corp. Or P Corp.
Certainly.
So I'll take a motion to approve that.
So moved.
No, I'm sorry.
379.
Thank you, I'll second. Is this the one, the 1814?
No, 2350.
You
Oh.
missed that one.
That
Yes,
one we
the
just,
1814.
that one we actually disregarded.
I'm so sorry, I'm throwing you guys off here. Okay, 378 you passed. I'm sorry, the 1814 was 378.
Yeah, and then this one is 2350, 379.
And if I didn't do it already, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 2021-380. We're moving from our CYS transfer account, $10,000 to our assessors contracted services. This covers some expenses related to the geometry project, which is ongoing.
Yes.
So I'll take a motion to approve 380.
So moved.
We have
Second?
a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 381, $200. CYS transfers to water. I was so close on my projection. I was so close on my projection of budget for water. That's the water that, like, if you run a faucet, it's the
Yeah.
water, it's the water bill. It's
It's the water.
the water bill. I was so close, if I was $200 off of those projections. But yeah, we're transferring over some money to cover the water bill. Any questions?
No.
No. Take a motion to approve 381.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Beth, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 382, moving $4,974 from CYS transfers to workers' compensation to cover county workers' compensation insurance. I'll take a motion to approve 382.
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Beth, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Not a whole lot of admin transfers today. We pretty much have everything right sized. We're moving $200 from JPO contingency to JPO materials and supplies for some PPE for their field operations. We're moving from register and recorders, $2,000. $2,000 from the technology funds. Really shouldn't be done, but we'll just do it. The reason being is technology fund is there's a revenue item associated with technology fund. There's an expense item associated with technology fund. They're sort of a joint thing. So in other words, those revenues are used specifically for things. So the expenses really shouldn't be transferred out because it's not general fund expenditures because we're not permitted to use the monies in the technology fund to fund general fund expenditures. Sort of a budget loophole. That being said, we'll transfer it just for the purposes of paying it out. But I'll talk to Tammy actually to make sure she knows that moving forward in the future, the technology fund line item kind of has to stay stagnant. DJ Nicholson, we have moving from electric, $255 for bond insurance to cover. DJ Nicholson was recently reelected. I guess her bond is not covered through PCOMP like some of the other county, CCAP like some of the other county offices, which makes sense. Thinking about it because she's not a county employee. Although we do have to pay her bond insurance, the state. And then there's also some emergency repairs that need to be made out of that office. Sheriff moving $2,000 from contingency materials and supplies to cover some office expenses that Perry made. He did actually a really good job in his both materials and supplies and his contingency. He did a good job managing his budget. So no issues there funding some of the sheriff's items. Human resources, we're moving from human resources contingency, $237 for materials and supplies, and human resources, I believe that's travel and training, to materials and supplies to cover some office supplies to close out the year. Jail, $200 from contingency to postage. That's due to the increase in the price of postage. And courts, office majors, $657.05 for travel and training to cover some of the registration costs for the annual judicial conference, assuming that conference still takes place. I'll take a motion to approve unless there's any questions or comments. Administrative transfer A through H.
So moved.
Second. We have motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No ordinance on the table for introduction or final action. Next commissioners meeting. We're having one on Thursday at 9, but the next regularly scheduled commissioners meeting, first meeting of 2022, will be on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, 10 a.m. in this room. Annual salary board meeting will be Monday, January 3rd, 2022 at 1:30 in the commissioners meeting room. I'll note that is the only meeting under state law that we are required to have. We literally can go an entire year without having a board of commissioners meeting. I'm not saying we should do that, but we could. That specific meeting we're obligated to have, even if there's no business to conduct under state law. Courthouse will be closed Friday, December 31, 2021 in observance of New Year's. Any public comments? Hearing none. Any additional?
Yeah, do you want to make note of the swearing in ceremony?
Oh, sure. Swearing in ceremony will take place in court. I believe it's in courtroom 1 because our ceremonial courtroom is not completed yet. Is it 10 or 11?
I believe it's 11.
Yes.
11 o'clock, we'll be swearing in, or swearing at, depending on your thoughts on the the election. Tammy Crawford for Register Recorder, Dave Prestapine for Lawrence County Controller, Josh Lamacusa as the Lawrence County District Attorney, and Perry Colero as the Lawrence County Sheriff, as well as Magisterial Judge Nicholson for Magisterial District that includes most of the Mohawk and Union. Am I missing anybody there?
I think you got it.
It's always a nice ceremony. I
Yes.
remember ours from a couple of years ago. It was very nice.
Doesn't that just seem like yesterday?
I know.
Wow, I can still picture us up there. My goodness, 2 years just flew by.
Nice.
Young and naive.
We get COVID.
Old enough.
Oh, well, I
Would
actually
have
looked,
thunk it.
I looked at a
Right.
picture that we had from just the other day from that swearing in. We all looked energetic. We all looked enthused. We all looked ready to go. And you look at us now, we're the saddest batch of county commissioners in the Commonwealth. Yes.
No, I can think of a few that are sadder, but I'm not
We'll end it with some laughter.
Any additional comments though from anybody here?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
good year.
Yes.
One more meeting to go. And again, wish everybody a happy new year. Lawrence County Board of Commissioners is adjourned.
Very good.
So if you would be kind enough Thursday to call my cell phone.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then I'll be able to, I didn't realize we were still on, but I'll be able to participate that way.